Hello, everyone. Hey. Um, okay, so before anything, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's here, who shows up, who leaves those comments that I actually read. Every single one. Whether you've been here since the beginning or you just clicked on this, I see you. Your honesty in the comments, the way you share what's real, that matters to me. Really. Okay, let's get into this. So there's this phrase that can surface sometimes: I'm not happy here. And it's interesting how that can land not loud, not dramatic, just there. Like you might notice a tightness in your chest, or maybe it's more subtle than that. Just this awareness sitting there, and it can feel like, um, it's hard to describe. It can feel like you've been carrying something and suddenly there's this moment where you notice the weight. Not that it just appeared, but that you're aware of it now in a way you maybe weren't before. You know that experience when you're in a situation and there's this part of you that seems to notice something's off, but there might be this other part that keeps showing up anyway, keeps going through the motions. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just noticing that that can happen to people, to humans in general. There can be this thing where someone might keep trying to make something work even when there's this quiet knowing underneath. And I don't know why. Maybe because leaving feels harder than staying. Maybe because admitting something isn't working can feel like, I don't know, like failure or something. Or maybe there's hope that if you just adjust one more time, if you just shift yourself a little more, maybe it'll click, but it might not. And you may be aware of that. Right now, in this moment, there might be this awareness that there's been adjusting happening, bending, making yourself smaller maybe, or different to fit into something that might not actually fit. My coffee's completely cold now, which is annoying, but whatever. Um, so there's this thing that can happen where someone brings a certain quality to situations, a depth maybe, or a way of engaging that feels, I don't know, different. And I'm not saying you do this. I'm saying this is something that can exist in human experience, where there's a mismatch between what someone brings and what a space can hold. And that can create tension, real tension. Like you might notice this split inside where part of you is aware of something you offer and another part is tired, just tired of trying to make it seen or to make it matter or to find someone who engages at that same level. Does that make sense to you, that kind of internal split? Because there can be this experience of being in a space and thinking, I'm not happy here. And it's not whining, it's not complaining, it might just be recognition. Your system noticing something true, that there's a mismatch happening between what you bring and what's being met or not met. Wait, let me say that differently. It can feel like you're operating at one frequency and the space around you is at another. And that's not good or bad. It's just what is. It's just information about fit, about compatibility. And when that awareness surfaces, when there's this I'm not happy here thought or feeling, it might not have an immediate answer attached to it. It might just be the awareness itself sitting there, being noticed. Oh, my shoulders are so tense right now, I can barely move them. You know, when you're somewhere and there's this quality you bring, this way you show up, and it seems like most people around you aren't doing that. Like they're staying on the surface and you can't or you don't. And I'm not saying that's what's happening to you. I'm just describing something that can happen. where someone finds themselves being the one who goes deep while everyone else stays shallow, and then there's this discomfort when you won't join them there. Have you noticed that? In your own experience, tell me in the comments if this feels familiar. Because it can be isolating, that experience, being in spaces where what you bring doesn't seem to be valued, or where it's actually too much, where there's this message, spoken or unspoken, to tone it down, to be easier, to require less. And that creates something. This thing where you might be aware that you bring something real, something maybe uncommon, but you're in a situation where that's not being matched. And there's exhaustion in that, real exhaustion. The thing is, there's no solution I can give you. I'm not here to tell you what to do with that awareness. I'm just here noticing with you that it might be real. That tension you may be feeling, that mismatch, that sense of being too much for spaces that feel too small, that might be real. And maybe the awareness itself is what's present right now. Not the answer, not the next step, just the noticing that what you might be feeling is valid. That wanting depth isn't wrong. That wanting to be met at your level isn't asking for something impossible. There can be this experience where someone brings a quality of presence, of honesty, of emotional availability that seems rare, and it's tiring being the only one doing that. It can feel exhausting being the one who insists on being real when everyone else is comfortable with performance. Wait, I need to correct that. I don't know if you're experiencing that. I'm describing a human experience that can happen where there's this gap between what someone offers and what they receive back. Have you noticed how uncomfortable people can get sometimes when you won't pretend, when you won't go along with the surface version of things? So I think the I'm not happy here, when it surfaces, it might not be about one thing. It might be about a pattern of ending up in situations where there's depth being given and surface being received, where there's full showing up and partial meeting, where there's realness being offered and less being asked for in return. And at some point, there can be this internal no, not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, firm, I'm not happy here. And that's not a problem. That might just be information, data, something your internal system is noticing about fit, about match, about what you actually need versus what you've been in. The thing some people bring, it's not a skill. It might be a way of being, showing up without armor, being present without pretense, offering depth without apology. And a lot of people, they might not do that. It requires vulnerability, honesty, risk, things that feel uncomfortable. But when someone does do that, when they naturally operate that way, they can end up in spaces where it's not valued. And then there's this wondering, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be satisfied with what seems to satisfy everyone else? But maybe nothing's wrong. Maybe it's just about frequency, about needing to be matched instead of changed, instead of dimmed. My neck hurts so bad right now. So I guess what I'm observing is the awareness that you might not be happy in a situation, that you might not be matched, that what you bring might not be met. That's not a flaw. That might be clarity. That might be your system working, telling you true things about what is, not what you wish was, what is. And maybe right now, in this moment, that's what's here. Just knowing it's real, just sitting with the awareness that mismatches exist. That some people bring things that are rare, and those things, they need spaces that can hold them, not minimize them. Does that make sense to you? I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.